namely vision for action. Gasiunas' main objection to blindsight, being a clear case of perception without awareness, is that we cannot rule out that the blindsider makes his discriminations on the basis of contextual cues. I'm not exactly sure how the cues Gasiunas lists as enablers of successful discrimination could enable blindsiders' choices in forced choice paradigms if blindsight is not unconscious perception. Gasiunas points to Milner and Goodale's suggestion that blindsiders might be using vision for action in the discrimination tasks. But, as we will see below, vision for action is an exemplar of unconscious perception. But it doesn't really matter, for there's little doubt that blindsight is a neural process triggered by a sensory stimulus that disposes the subject to act in ways characteristic of neurotypical individuals exposed to an external stimulus under normal viewing conditions, and there's therefore little doubt that blindsight counts as a case of perception. For example, most blindsight subjects tested have been found to have spectral sensitivity to wavelength, and the ability to reliably discriminate wavelength of stimuli in their blind field. In forced choice paradigms, trained blindsiders, such as GY, sometimes predict the color, motion, and location of stimuli presented to them in their blind field with close to 100% accuracy. It has furthermore been shown that with training, blindsiders can sometimes apply their skills more independently. Some blindsiders, for example GY, have acquired the ability to guess when to make a guess about a stimulus in a blind field in experimental settings, or show other remarkable capacities. Training has similar effects on subjects in cases of induced blindsight. The important question with respect to blindsight is not whether it's an instance of perception, but whether it's a case of unconscious perception. The issue of whether blindsight really is blind has been the subject of much debate. Azzopardi and Cowie carried out a sophisticated signal detection analysis study that showed that blindsight is not like degraded normal vision. Based on the results of Kentridge, Haywood, and Weiskrantz, Larry Weiskrantz compared discrimination performance and levels of awareness in sighted and blind hemispheres and found that discrimination can be highly accurate despite no reported awareness. More recently, Morten Overgaard et al. And Mark Christensen et al. Have argued that the current methods for reporting visual awareness do not suffice for determining visual awareness. They conducted a series of studies using improved measures for determining visual awareness and argued on the basis of these studies that blindsight is indeed severely degraded conscious vision. However, their methods for testing for subjective awareness presuppose that reported clarity, clear image, correlates with visual awareness, an assumption which is highly questionable. Pursuit and Lau recently added further evidence for the hypothesis that blindsight is not accompanied by visual awareness. Blindsight subject EY was given definitions of qualia from the Oxford Companion to the Mind, the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, Consciousness Explained by Daniel Dennett, and Epiphenomenal Qualia by Frank Jackson. EY read them at his leisure and was then tested for blindsight. Afterwards, the researchers questioned him about whether he understood the notion of qualia and whether he experienced qualia. To the first question, T.Y. responded that he thought he understood the notion, but did